Welcome, everyone. Today is December 7th, and this is the Coaching Tools and Tips virtual meetup that's intended to help people all over the world learn more about professional coaching, especially professional coaching, and bringing it over into the Agile space to help make us better Scrum Masters, better coaches, better whatever Agile career we're in, because coaching is amazing and it can help you really get to see and learn things that you don't know. And I'd love to just mention to you that last night I was driving home from yet another trip from the airport, and I was thinking about how today's world is so the kids in today's world, they text message and they do Facebook and all these other social media. And so this generation that's coming up doesn't actually know how to have human conversations. They only know electronic conversations. And the reason I bring that up is because I think this is my own prediction that those of us who learn professional coaching skills and function as professional coaches, you will be doing something in the next generation that blows, or in the next decade, that blows the next generation's mind. And it will be such a crazy valuable profession that they'll pay for it like doctors and lawyers and everything else, because they've never had someone actually listen to them, see into them, and have a conversation that digs out real thoughts and real emotions and real creativity, because they've only known, for the most part, social media, text messages, and none of that's real. No one really sees into you there. So that's my prediction, and I'm sticking with it. So congratulations that you are breaking open the next decade with communication skills that the humans of this world are losing. So as we want to welcome Lucia Baldelli from Gibraltar, or I should say from Italy via Gibraltar, and Christine Thompson from the UK in Maidenhead. And they're going to be presenting today a coaching technique or a tool technique, kind of a mix between the two. And it's called immunity mapping. And I've personally, after I was taught by Lucia, I actually use this with individuals, and I used it as a team exercise, and it was pretty amazing. So I'm really excited to have them here today, and they're going to teach you how to do this. You'll experience it. And then I'll be back at the end to close us up, and I'm going to be doing a giveaway. So make sure to stick around so that you can be in the raffle. So I'm going to hand it over to you all. You can take it away.
Thanks, Sheree.
Let's just quickly introduce ourselves. Welcome, everyone. My name is Lucia. I'm Italian. I am a certified team coach, and it's a great pleasure to be here and share this learning with you. I hope you'll take away a technique that you can use for your individual clients or for your teams. And I'm glad to be here with Christine.
Hi, everybody. For those that don't know me, I'm Christine Thompson. I'm an Agile coach from the UK, and it's my pleasure to support Lucia with this session today, because it is indeed a great tool that is incredibly useful.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Let me tell me when you can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, can you see? Okay. So I leave it in with this setup so that I don't lose eye contact with you. And we'll just kick off, and we'll start talking about what is it, immunity to change. So in this talk, we'll discuss about individuals or teams that are really struggling to make a change that they want to achieve. So that it looks like they've built a sort of protection mechanism or a barrier against their own change. Even when the change is urgent or important, it seems like they have everything they need to actually succeed, but they are not able to make that happen. So we are talking about big things here, not like small changes. We're talking about things like being overworked, being willing to lose weight but not managing to succeed. We're talking, if we think about a team scenario, we're talking about teams willing to restructure or introduce, for example, continuous integration, but not making the time to actually do it, or being willing to cross skill each other, but never finding the time to actually do it. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of scenarios where you can actually use this tool. It's a framework. So we'll go through a map that potentially you might have had the time to print. I sent an email with a template. If you didn't, never mind. You can just use a piece of paper, because after we go through the technique, it will be interactive. So you'll actually experience the tool yourselves, and then we'll work in smaller groups to actually practice it. So without further doing, let's look at what the immunity map is and what it means.
So we'll just give you a quick introduction at this point, and then we'll walk you through in a lot more detail about what the different boxes are for. So this is the map. It has 4 different columns. And so the first column is thinking about what is it that you want to achieve? What is your goal? And what is it that you're doing to achieve that? Then we take a look at the behaviours that are preventing you achieving that. So what is it you do and you don't do that's affecting you achieving that goal? In the third column, we talk about our worries. What is it that's making us anxious about achieving this, and what's competing against it? And then the final column is looking at those big assumptions. So what beliefs do we have that's actually feeding that immunity to us achieving the goal? So that's what the map looks like, and we'll go into a lot more detail for you.
So these are the questions that we will answer as we fill in the map. We'll start from the left and we'll go all the way to the right. And if you look at the first column, what the first column is about is the change, is the actual goal that the client wants to achieve. Could be an individual client, again, could be a team client, but we're talking about something that is important for the client, something that has a positive impact on other people. And it's clear that the client has everything he needs to make it happen. So it's in his control to actually make this change, but he's not managing to do it. And when you think about that goal, make it something positive. So this is not about stopping something, it's not about stopping a behavior, but this is about becoming something else or doing something different. So in the first cell, top right, top left, what we want to hear is, what is it that you want to achieve? What is the goal? What is the change you want to make? And then just below that, what are the actions you are committed to do to actually achieve it?
And then we'll look at the behaviours. So in the next cell, what is it I do that works against my goal? So thinking about those concrete behaviours, what things do we actually do? Pulling out as many as we can of those things that are actually working against achieving the goal. And then also thinking about what it is that I don't do that stops me achieving the goal. So all those things that we don't do that are feeding into that inability to achieve the goal. So a list of concrete examples of all the behaviours that we're doing and not doing in this second column.
So we'll go through an example in a minute. We'll do a live coaching demo so that you get a better understanding of what we mean. But continuing on the map, if we go to the third column, here we have our worries. So what are these worries? Imagine you actually achieve your goal. What is something you're really concerned about if you achieve your goal? What could happen to you that is concerning you? This is really important. And when you fill in this box, you have to dig a bit deeper, because these are concerns that will build competing goals, which is the box underneath. So what are the goals that are actually competing with your primary goal, the first one that you stated at the beginning of the map, that actually work against you achieving the goal? Because these will be the things that give rise to your worries.
Okay, and then the final section is our big assumptions. So what is it that's underlying everything, that's driving this immunity? So here we're trying to complete the picture. So what is it that we fundamentally believe that's feeding that immunity? So all the things that we treat as being the truth, which may or may not be the truth when we dig into them, but those assumptions and those beliefs about things that may be, again, beneath the surface. So we're trying to dig down even deeper now and find out those things that we fundamentally assume and believe to be true that's actually creating that immunity to the change.
Do we have any questions before we go for a live coaching demo? Is anything unclear about the map?
Hi, I don't know if I heard correctly from the beginning. I might have missed it, but wanted to clarify if this is like a coaching model or a coaching framework that you can use when coaching. Am I correct?
It is, yes.
Great.
So we'll demo it in a minute, and you'll see like an example of a possible application in one-on-one coaching. And then soon after the demo, we look also at a team scenario where you could actually use this tool. So the right moment to use this tool is when you see that your client is stuck, is not able to move forward. It's really, really wanting a change to happen, a change that is in his control, that he can make happen or they can actually achieve, but they're struggling to move forward. So these are the signals. Client stuck, it's in his potential and in his control to achieve the goal, but it's not managing to move forward. Any more questions before we move on? Okay, so Christine, do you have a topic for this demo? What is the goal you're currently struggling to achieve? Where are you? Yeah. Yes.
So my goal is around being able to create some time and some space for myself, to be able to be better at saying no to things when I haven't got time to do them, and just practicing a little bit more self-care. So thinking about myself more in the way that I make my commitments.
Mm-hmm. So I'm hearing being capable of saying no and taking care of yourself. Why will this be important to you?
It's about creating the right balance for me. It's about creating the right space and just keeping everything so that it's manageable for me, so that I'm not overstretching myself all the time and pushing myself too hard and getting too tired. So it's about finding that right balance in my life that I feel happier with.
Mm-hmm. What are the signals that you're struggling to actually do this?
Sense of feeling stressed, sense of feeling anxious about getting things done, that feeling of panic, that out of control feeling. I've got too much to do and I can't manage it all. So it's that sort of stress feeling and an anxious response that I get when I know that I'm just taking on too much and not thinking about myself.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm hearing a lot of being overwhelmed and not being able to push back and, protect yourself from this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
And what would you like to achieve in this short conversation?
I would like to be able to see better ways of finding that balance and just understand why it's not happening for me. When I want it to happen and it's not happening. So what is it that I need to do or change that's actually going to make this possible for me?
So we want to explore how to find that balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you know you have the right things you wanted to find that balance?
I think some clarity on the specific things that I can do or not do that's going to help me. I feel like there's something fundamentally there that's stopping me changing, because I want to change. I want this balance. And so it's some clarity around what's stopping me finding that, so that I feel a sense of being able to move forward with it, being unblocked.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to get unstuck.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And let's explore a little bit deeper. What are some things you are actually committing to do to achieve that goal?
So it's around being aware of what I'm doing. So being conscious of what my calendar looks like, what my commitments look like, and making a conscious decision when I say yes. So thinking when I say yes, do I really have the time? And am I actually thinking about myself when I say yes? What are the consequences of saying yes? What's it going to cost me? What is it that I'm actually committing to? And also thinking about what would happen if I said no? What's the consequences of saying no? Because, you know, one assumes that one can't say no, and sometimes we need to. So it's being realistic about what's the consequences of saying no.
So this sounds like a protection mechanism for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Self-protection, self-care, totally. Yeah.
So, and if you think about yourself, like look at yourself in a mirror, as you're behaving or not behaving now, what are some things you're actually doing that work against this goal of protecting yourself?
It's that immediate response. Yes, yes, yeah, I can do that. Yes, yes. Especially if it's something small. So if somebody, oh, can you just do this? Oh, yeah, that's small. Yes. And it's not thinking, just saying yes. And just filling every moment. Oh, I know I've got a half-hour gap coming up. So yes, I can fill that with something else. So it's just maxing everything out, filling every second, saying yes to everything, and just thinking, oh, well, you'll manage, just stretch. You know, you can manage a little bit more. You'll be able to fit it in, and just thinking that I can just keep stretching a little bit, and I can't keep stretching forever.
Oh yes, yeah, that might be hard. So I'm hearing a couple of things, like you said, yes, yes. Is sort of what's behind that desire to help?
I think there's just something there about giving, just, you know, giving to other people and doing everything that I can to help other people, and trying to add the most value and do the most I can and do the best I can. So it's that feeling that yes means that, you know, I'm giving something to everybody, and that's important to me.
Okay, so this is something you value.
Yeah, yeah.
How is it impacting you?
It's impacting me because every second of my day is full, and then people expect me to say yes. If you keep saying yes, they come back for more. So I'm teaching people to max me out. Yeah, absolutely.
Available for everyone, and people will come to you and will expect a yes.
Absolutely, because I'm trying to give to everybody, and everybody knows that, so they keep on asking. Yeah. And yeah, like you say, it's a cycle.
Yeah, yeah. And if you think about the things you don't do that are actually working against achieving that balance, what would they be?
Well, the biggest thing that I don't do is say no, because it's yes, yes, yes. So I find no really hard to say, because I just have this need to support other people and give to other people, and so that's one of the things that I'm really bad at doing. I don't keep space for myself, and I don't keep and honour that space. So setting aside that time that I need and honouring that and keeping that for me, so that I've just got some space and I've got a buffer in my day that just allows me to cope with everything. And just that, you know, that sense of making time for me.
I hear a lot of generosity in you, though.
Yeah, I just have a real desire to help others and to give and to, you know, do what I can for them, and that's just really important to me. So yeah, I want to be generous, but I also want to be generous to me.
Yeah. Okay. So let's think for a moment. You manage, you achieve your balance, you become capable of saying no and taking care of yourself a little bit more. If this happens, what are you concerned about?
Well, I won't be helping people. I won't be giving them the support that they need. It almost feels selfish. So I'm only thinking about me and not thinking about them.
Hmm.
So I'm just worried that people will see me differently, and that I'll see me differently, that I'll see me as being unhelpful, selfish, self-centered. And that's not who I am. That's not who I want to be.
Hmm. So I'm hearing a concern to come across different.
Yeah, and also how I'll sort of grow and develop as a person, because if I'm not, you know, continually saying yes and accepting new challenges, then I'm not growing and I'm not learning, and you know, I'm not going to get promoted.
Okay.
So
So if
it's
we are
also in,
go ahead.
that development piece is important to me.
Mm-hmm. So if we talk about your growth in the workplace, um, how is this competing with your desire to protect yourself?
Yeah, it does feel like a competition, because there's, on the one hand, there's that self-care, saying no, create some space for me, and on the other hand, there's that personal development, personal growth, being able to add the most value, you know, have an impact for people, support them, give them what they need. So it's my professional growth, my personal growth that could be at stake if I don't say yes to things.
I see. So if we dig a little bit deeper, what is it that you're assuming here in terms of, um, when you think about the availability and what you give to people competing against your personal development and growth?
If I say no, then I'm no longer of value.
Hmm.
If I don't give, then I don't have value. I'm no value to me, and I'm no value to others.
And how do you know
By
this?
saying yes, by saying yes and giving, that makes me valuable.
How do you know that this is true?
Because people come and thank me.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I'm giving them value, and if I don't say yes, then they won't do that, and I won't be giving them value.
Mm-hmm. What else do you believe about, what could happen if you take more care of yourself?
Then I just won't be successful. I'm not going to stretch myself. I'm not going to learn new things, and that's just not. I want to be successful at what I do. I feel quite ambitious, and I want to be good at what I do. And saying no isn't going to make me good at what I do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'll cut a bit shorter for the benefit, because this was just a demo. But if you think about the awareness you wanted to have at the end of this short conversation, what are you aware of that you didn't know before?
There's a big thing there about value. There's something there about how I know that I'm giving value. And by saying yes, 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 that's one way that I'm giving value. But I would like to think about how I'm actually bringing value by being able to say no and being able to have a sense of care for myself, creating the space that I need valuable things.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I need to have a look at what adding value means.
Hmm. And how will this impact your next steps?
Because I think I'm thinking in terms only of time, and I think it will help me to also think in terms of value when I say yes or no. So rather than just saying, have I got time, also thinking about where can I add the most value, and also recognizing that time for me is valuable too. There's value in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe I'm looking at it through the wrong lens, looking at it through a time lens, and it perhaps a value lens would give me a better view on striking the right balance.
Mm. Okay, I hope this was useful, Christine. Thanks. Thanks for sharing.
Very useful. Yes, it
Was supposed to be
you.
a demo, but it turned into
Supposed to be a demo, but it was really good.
you. So this is an example of how this could work in an individual scenario. We'll quickly go through a team scenario, and then we'll open up for question before we actually make this work in practice, because you'll have to do some work here. You're not just listening. So this is the immunity map of a team whose goal is to increase the automation of releases and come up with a reliable suite of tests by increasing the coverage, completing automating tests for user stories, and automating release steps. The actions they are committing to do is to spend more time on automation and define the test coverage in user stories and all the nice things we should be doing to actually achieve CI/CD.
So again, looking at the behaviours, what it is that they do that works against it. So they're focusing on completing only the feature code, accepting changes on manual testing only, and accepting the fact that they've got manual release steps. So accepting things as they are and focusing on just features. And what are they not doing? They're not giving themselves capacity when they size things to do the automation work. And they're not defining that coverage that they need in the acceptance criteria to make sure that the automation tests are done as they should be.
And what are their concerns? So they are concerned that their velocity will go down because they will take time to write automation and they won't deliver business value. So they will get more business pressure from the business because they're not releasing as many customer-facing features as they were doing before. It will also take longer to develop user stories, and it will take too long to automate releases, so that might be hard work to do. So if you look at the competing goals, what they are afraid of, so what they are, the goals that are actually working against the main goal is the desire to look good to the business. So we want to complete as many stories as we can. And we think it's still valuable to spend some time on manual testing. So we don't want to give up on that. And then we want to ship value as much as we can.
And then finally, the big assumptions that's underlying everything for them. So the assumption that business value is more important than doing these technical improvements, assuming that they can live without the automation, live with the manual releases, assuming it's going to actually slow them down and that they won't be able to show enough value from what they're doing. And all of those things are underpinning that immunity to that change.
So what are some questions or thoughts you have before we actually start working on your map?
Hey, this is Scott. I'm real curious about the team scenario. So would you typically do this through a series of kind of team facilitation type meetings where you would come in and maybe you wouldn't accomplish all these within one period of time, or do you usually do it in one session?
So I would do it in one session with the whole team. Could be part of a retro, for example, because they're stuck, they're not managing to increase their automation, and we want to dig deeper and understand why this is not happening. So you can do this as a brainstorming, you know, why is this not happening? What is it? Come up with a shared understanding of what the goal is and what we're doing against that goal. What are we concerned about? What are some things that work, some other goals we have that work against this primary one, and which one is more important? You can do it as in one session. Yeah, might take 1 hour, 2 hours.
And then what's kind of the follow-up after this? Like, as I'm looking at your slide here, actions to achieve it, do you then have them kind of prioritize that list and kind of develop more of a detailed plan of how they're going to move forward with each of those?
So the heart of the technique is to uncover the assumptions and the beliefs that actually feed into creating competing goals, which are supported by the worries the team has. So we want to uncover those and work on those to actually validate them. Are they true? Are they not true? What's really important for you? And we want to make sure that they understand how they build their own mechanism to that change, so that they can work on that intentionally. Anything to add, Christine?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's about creating that awareness, isn't it? It's about the whole team becoming aware of what it is that they're doing. And it strikes me, as Lucia mentions retrospectives, that we see things appearing regularly on retrospectives and the team just aren't moving them forward. So that's a good time to come in and show them what it is that is actually going on for them, so that they can then have a think about what it is that they've discovered.
Good, thank you.
And the common theme that I've seen with this using this technique with clients is they realize is that awareness piece that Christina mentioned. When they put it black on white, they have it there. So this is the support mechanism that is killing their change. It's the castle of immunity, yeah, is built here. And the deeper we dive, the more we get to, you know, the roots, we uncover assumptions, we uncover, you know, things that the team believes that are actually, you know, the immunity to that change. Any more thoughts or questions?
Just thoughts, actually. Like, you know, sometimes we get too much carried away with the deliverables within the sprint or within the release. Some of these we start, and then, you know, there might be some dependencies. Like, how do we bring back this all together so that we lay down a proper plan and complete it?
So we need to understand what's really important for the team. So in some cases, when I've used this technique, we were at a meetup in the UK, Christine, do you remember? We had a couple of pieces when the person changed the goal. So the awareness piece was actually the competing goal is more important than the primary goal, but that's okay. They have a new awareness. They know that there's something more important that will not allow them to achieve what their stated primary goal was initially. So if in that, to answer your question specifically, if in that particular moment it's more important to deliver business features, that's fine. But they are aware of this. They consciously make the decision of parking CI/CD.
Yeah. What does your working agreement look like? Do you do it like a group coaching agreement when you run this, as if it's a group coaching, or do you jump right into it and you laid out the questions in advance that you're going to work kind of more like in a retro style?
So my personal answer, I'd be happy to hear about Christine. So I always ask for permission. I would ask for permission to use this. So I will give some context and then ask the team, this is an exercise that I'm offering to you. Does this work for you? Do you want to go through this? It assumes some safety because people have to be honest with themselves and, you know, pull things out, because as we go from left to right, we dig deeper and we need to be honest to ourselves. Otherwise it's pointless. But if you get the permission, in theory, it should be a useful exercise. Christine, what do you think?
Yeah, and I think it depends on the situation, Mike, because if you're already working with the team, then you've already got that coaching agreement in place, I would imagine, because you're already working close enough with them to have realised that this would be a good exercise to do. So that follows on. But I think, like Lucia said, just checking that they're okay with taking this approach and trying that as a team would be, you know, a very good and courteous thing to do. If you've stumbled across a team that you're not already working with, then yes, you would have to put all that in place right before you come in and go, hey guys, this is what you need to do. Yeah, you need to set the scene and set the agreement with them and make sure that everybody is on board with the thought of being coached by you. So I guess it just depends on the circumstance.
And you need that trust, right? If there is no trust and safety, it's not useful.
It's not going to work. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it will be even hard to do it with a team that you've just taken on board, because you need to build that relationship to get them to open up, yeah, and be honest.
Yeah, just to step back a little bit, I know we have almost moved past that. So at the end of this, we created this new awareness. So is the expectation that with the new awareness, the team or the individual can go ahead and draw up what the action plan could be? Because that's not here based on what you explained earlier.
Mm-hmm. So my answer will be, if you uncover assumption and beliefs, you need to work on those. So the first step might be to validate them. For example, are they true? Are they not true? If they are true or not true, what can we do about them? Same as the competing goals. If there are competing goals, what is it more important? What is it that we really want? So with this new awareness, do we still want the team goal, the one that we initially stated, or do we want something else?
Yeah, so the team may want an action plan and they may not, and I guess that's you're revealing this to the team and saying, well, you know, where do you want to go next with this? Where do you want to take it? And hand it back to them for them to decide what is it that's important. And if they want to move forward and they need an action plan, then you can support them with that. And if this has completely changed their goals, then that might not be necessary. But I guess it's sort of handing it back to the team and saying, given this, what is it that you want to do next?
Thanks.
Are we good? Okay, so think of yours. You can go for an individual scenario, so something of your own. You should have your map close to you, or maybe a white piece of paper. We'll give you maybe 30 seconds to think about one big thing that will make the difference for you. So it could be, if it's individual, it's something that will impact in a positive way you or the people around you, that it's in your control to change. And it's positive. It's not about stopping, but it's about starting a new behavior, a new way of thinking, yeah, a new you. If you don't want to share any personal thing, you might think of a team scenario with a team you're working, for example, and we'll go through the map again and we'll fill it in. You'll do it individually, and then we'll break out in smaller groups to actually work on that map. So we'll do some coaching as well. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so think about the first column where we started from and write down, you've got a minute to write what is your goal, what is it that you want to achieve, and what are the actions that you are committing to do to actually achieve it. You have 1 minute to write. Are we ready?
Thumbs up from that. Okay. So let's move on and have a think about the behaviours. So what is it that you do that works against it? And what is it that you don't do that works against your goal? So take a minute to have a think about those. So how are we doing?
Okay, column number 3. So these are your worries. If you achieve your goal, what is it that is concerning you? And what are some hidden competing goals that give rise to your worries? 1 minute to write.
Okay. And moving on to the last one then. Have a think about your big assumptions. So those underlying assumptions and beliefs that are feeding that immunity to change. Okay.
Okay, so now we'll go in breakout rooms and we'll split you in groups of 3 to have a coaching conversation. So there will be a client, a coach, and an observer. You can choose whoever wants to be coached or coach, and you'll have 20 minutes. If you have too short coaching conversation, it might be okay as well. But the purpose is to share for the client to share what is learning from his map, and for the coach to sort of identify a strategy to break his or her assumptions and what's key for the client to succeed.
Okay, just one very quick caveat here. Looks like we have, I'm going to have 4 people in each room because we don't have enough to have the third room with 3 people. So just a caveat for you. So is there any change in instruction? Lucia, you'll be in one room, and Christine, you'll be in the other. So if y'all need to change instructions on the fly, you'll be able to do that. I'm going to sit out in the main room so that if anybody doesn't get connected, I can try to get them in. And then I'll drop back and forth between the 2 so we can get a bit of both on the recording.
Lovely. Thanks.
All right.
Just before you do that, Cherie, let's just have a look at some of these sample questions that you might want to ask each other when you've shared. So having a think about if your assumption was wrong, what would be possible? Asking what's the impact of your beliefs on your success. Thinking about what it is that has to change in you and what support do you need to move forward. So some of those open and challenging questions that you can ask each other to dig a little deeper behind what you've revealed in your map.
I pasted the questions in the chat, so we're good to go. Was some great coaching going on.
Yeah, we didn't get to finish.
It really was. Yes. Yeah, sorry, that was bad timekeeping on my behalf, guys. I didn't quite give you a warning. Sorry. Well done, Amalia. Well done, Matt.
What are you learning from this exercise? We would like to hear from you.
We need not go to the doctor.
Do a quick round of takeaway. Yeah, what are you taking away from this?
I think I kind of second what Manoa said in terms of the solution is inside everyone. And I was a coachee, and I realized that as a coach, it's important how or rather how you get the coachee engaged to think about the solutions themselves. That's a takeaway for me.
Yeah, for me, this is a structured way of actually getting to that core beliefs and assumptions that the coachee may have coming into the session. So just being able to go through this and bring up those assumptions, and with the new knowledge, with the new learnings, the coachee planning an action forward, either to validate these assumptions or they are actually true, and then what needs to happen. This tool provides that structured way of getting there.
Definitely, thanks.
I'm not sure it is right to call out, but it's one of the great retrospective tools.
I think a lot of new things get covered up which we never imagined or never thought about when we go through these exercises. And something we never thought of, that really helps us to add one more value to the wherever we eat.
Yes, can be revealing. So, but we don't take the credits for this amazing technique. If you want more information, can you see my screen? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want more information, you can find the detailed description with loads of examples in this book. And it's a great read, so feel free to get a bit deeper with the knowledge.